everyone, this is Tammy at Snowstorm Crafts, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. So let's just get right into it here. I am working on my feather leather junk journal, and if you guys want to get caught up, there will be a playlist on the end screen, and you can come catch up with us. So today, what I want to do is I need to take my little booklet here. So this is just a little magazine that you can get in the mail, or a little booklet or a flyer or anything like that. And these are great to make fun little signatures in your journal. Okay, so what I did is I just took another piece out here. So that's what we did here, is I used just the booklet, and I showed you guys how to make fun little pockets and stuff and to do this. So this is as far as we've gotten. Got a fun little cover here, and I show you guys how to do all this, so go check out the playlist. Okay, so there's that. Now for the middle, or for this part, we ran out of time in the last video, so what I want to do today is we're gonna put a signature right here in the middle here, so, or a little page layout. So what I got here is some coffee dyed just copy paper, just regular copy, standard, that goes in a copy machine. And I took coffee and dyed it and then jazzed it up. And there's a fun technique that I do with this, so I'll put that on the end screen. You guys come check it out. Okay, so I'm just taking, I don't need that part of the booklet. I just took out one more page here because I needed one more page. So I cut this to size. I did it a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to tack it down with my Yoo-Hoo glue stick. All right, let's do that. Glue her down. There we go, and then we can fold it. And I know it's a little longer, so I'm just going to cut the pieces that are hanging out here. Just anything just hanging over. There we go. Okay. So there we go. That looks really good. Okay. So we have that. Now I want to show you guys how to do this. So these are all our scraps from all our papers that we glued in here, and I had to cut to size and all that fun stuff. This is the scraps. So we're gonna take our scraps, we're gonna do something fun with them. So the pretty side up, whatever you got going, just the pretty side up. Okay, let's see, so I got this, and this is just part of the paint paper, the mixed media paper, and that's what I use throughout. Here is mixed media paper. And I know I asked you guys in the last video, but comment down below if you guys want to see how I make these little fun, the mixed media little papers here, and I can show you guys a video on that. So if I get enough comments down below, I'll do a fun video on showing you guys how I did that. Okay, so I got this and this. So what I'm going to do, you can either glue it together, just overlap it, and I'm going to do some art here. Some good old art. I haven't used it for a little bit, so see how good it works. Okay, so I just did a little bit of glue in here, and I'm going to overlap it just like that. I got little Patty Kitty in here thinking it's time for her treat, which it's not. Okay, so I just overlapped them like that just to make it a little bit wider. Okay, excuse me. Then we can move over here, and I'm going to take my papers, just lay them across. They can be different sizes. And these are just either tea dyed or coffee dyed papers, or some of our fun jazzed up coffee papers. So I'm just going like this, like that, just overlapping them and seeing how wide I want to go, like that. Okay, so I like that. Then I just take some more mixed media paper strips that I have, and I'm going to put this across the top for as wide as I want it. Do a little snip. Okay. And we can either go to the sewing machine and just sew straight across here. You could take your stapler and just take your staple gun and just staple it across. I mean, there's just many different ways you could do this, but let's see. I'm thinking I'm gonna sew it. So I want to do this, and I think it'd be kind of fun to incorporate. I know I got these are all my threads, my little scrap pieces of fabric, things that, you know, that you're working on, and you just I just throw it to the side, see how I can incorporate any of this into my junk journaling. So I'm thinking, what if that would look cute, huh? Just have that go across. So I'm just kind of playing around. You can even have this go underneath. I know it's not all stacked perfect yet, but I'm just playing around. So you could go underneath with it. Take some more of your threads. Just see what you got here. Keep it kind of neutral. I got a little blue in there. So you could do this underneath it. That. So you could do that. Just to have some interest underneath and some wispiness. So I don't know if I want to do glue, because I don't really want to get glue on my sewing machine or my needle, you know. So let's just do that. And line these up. Okay. Line them up. I like having a little bit at the top of the paper, of the background paper showing, so. Like that, stack it up, like that. Okay, and then I will meet you guys over at the sewing machine. I'll show you, I'm just gonna sew right across. We're gonna take our fabric, line it up on the one side, okay? And we're going to sew it to our fabric. Not sure why I forgot that part. But that's the point, is we're going to sew it to our fabric. Okay? And I have it on a fun, fancy stitch. But you could do whatever stitch you want. So the thing is with fancy stitches, you just you don't push it through, you don't pull it through, you just let it do its thing, and then it turns out great. So like if you have any fun, just fancy stitches on your sewing machine, you just kind of let it do its thing and guide itself through the machine. I mean, you just keep it so it's lined up and not going crooked, but you just let it go do its thing. And that turns out great. So that is super fun. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing over to the other side because this will be folded in half and it'll be on each side of the signature. And then you have fun little papers that you can just write on and you can rip out if you want to and just journal on. So super fun. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So I want to show you guys. So remember at the beginning how I glued these two together? Now you could take it if you want and overlap them and sew them together. So you can just do that and then just sew them together. So I wanted to show you guys that, and then you've got some fun threads and stitching. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that to this one. Okay. So I have it all lined up here where I want it. Okay. So I'm just cutting the threads off and see how that turned out. That is super fun. Okay, so we'll go to the table and I will show you how it turned out. Okay. So I got that all sewn on there, as you can see. So we just sewed it right to our fabric signature here, or a little page. Okay. And then we're going to add it in to our signature. So I think that turned out really fun. Oh, I forgot to put the paper on there. Whoops. I don't know why I forgot to put the paper on there. Okay, so you guys are probably yelling at me as it was happening here, but I didn't even notice it. I forgot to put the paper on there. So I'm glad I showed you guys how to construct this side, but let's see. We can fix this problem. So what we're going to do is just kind of slide everything underneath. I got tons of scraps here. So let's just slide it under. There's always a fix. Ain't no big deal. Okay. So we're just going to go like this and then just line it up like that. Okay. And then what we can do, we just moved it down a little bit. I mean, you can even add some more layering. Just pop this down like that. You know, sometimes when you do a mistake, or, you know, mistake, if you want to call it that, it turns out better than the original idea, really. And if you just kind of just go with it instead of just panicking and running around and pulling your hair out, just kind of go with it. And 9 out of 10 times, it turns out better than the original. And you're like, okay. So honestly, don't freak out when that happens. It just is another learning curve and a different way to do things. Okay. So what I did is just go like this, pop this one down, like that, and then I'm just going to go over and just sew this really quick. There we go. I think that turned out really cool. So let me know in the comments. I'd like to know, do you guys like the first one better or the second one better? Let me know. Number 1 or number 2. And we'll see. We'll see here. So comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you guys are enjoying this video, please hit the like button, and that helps me get out there further. And other people can come see my video here. Our little feather leather journal. I'm having so much fun doing this with you guys. Okay, so now that we fixed that, I think it turned out really fun. I'm just going to leave the threads all wispy. So let's go ahead, So we already had it glued our paper on the front here. And now what I want to do is I like to take the fabric, put the good side down. So just any threads you want sticking out. Now's a good time. Okay. And then we're just going to take our little paper here, our signature, or our little book page, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just go to my sewing machine, and we'll have to just lift some things on the other side to work our way around, but it is doable, and I will take you guys over and show you how. So if you want, you can pin it. That's always a nice thing to do, just so it doesn't move on you. You can just take your little clips here, and let's just clip it around like that. Just to hold it into place where you want it. So I'm just going to do that, clip it all the way around, and then I'll meet you guys at the sewing machine. Okay. So let's go ahead and start at the top here. And I made sure to pin my paper on the back here. I went up as far as I could, because even if I sew through this, it'll be fine. But I'm thinking I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. So we'll see. I think I'll be right above it, but either way, just kind of think about that with the placement on how it's going to sew through the papers up on top here on this side. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it like this, and I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. Okay, and we're just going to slowly sew around. And I'm just going to flip it around. So as I'm sewing around, I'm just keeping, see, I missed the top there. So, but even if you sewed across right there, it's not that big a deal. So as I'm sewing across, I'm just keeping my book flat on the top part, okay, and on the side part here. So just make sure you're not catching it on the side when you're sewing. All right, so let's just sew down. Okay, now we're going to get to this part, and what you're going to want to do is just take your booklet and just move it up out of the way. See how I did that? I just took it and just kind of popped it up out of the way. Okay. Put your foot down. And then you're sewing under the booklet because you have all the papers over here. And then as I'm coming up on this one, so you can see what I'm doing, I'm just taking it and I just want to make sure this is clear right here because you don't want to sew across it. So you just move your little booklet, little flip, up out of the way. Just like that. Part. I can put my booklet back the way it was. Just make sure you're not sewing the side of it. See, mine's over far enough. So I'm not going to sew, you know, on my little flip booklet. Just move your threads out of the way, like any of the threads that you don't want sewn down on this side in your little cluster. Okay, so we did it. Went all the way around it. So I'll take you over to the table and I'll show you. Okay, so this turned out amazingly. I love it. So that's super cool. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is take all our fun little pages here, and I want this one for the middle, like that. And just add it where we want it. I think that looks great, just like that. I love the paper sticking out. Okay. So let's get it where we want it. Okay, so I went ahead and just clamped it around, or just on each side here, and I have my awl, a needle, and some poly wax thread. And I think I have this down below. This stuff is amazing. I love using it in my journals. It is super sturdy. So there's 1, 2, 3. Do 3 times your journal. Plus I do a little bit more for danglers. Okay. But that is the rule of thumb if you are binding a, I'm just doing a triple, just a 3-hole pamphlet stitch is what I'm doing. I was gonna call it a triple hole pamphlet stitch, the same difference I guess. But so I'm gonna do that. And what we're gonna do is just poke our holes. So I just need 3 holes. So I got 1 in the middle. Okay. Make sure I'm staying in the journal right here. 1 at the top, like that. And then one at the bottom. Okay. Which I don't know what I was thinking. I need to bind it into here. So now that I got my holes, we're gonna take it. And put it exactly where we want it. Right there. I mean, this is so much fun. Finally get to bind it all together. I love this part. Okay, so there. Now I clamped it to my journal that it's going into. I got my holes all ready. So I'm just gonna go ahead and poke them again. Just make sure nothing's in your way here. There, I'm just going right through the spine. There we go. And the bottom here. There we go. And then we're just gonna pop it through the middle. I always leave a tail. That's why I do extra. Pop it through the top. Just keep pulling it. Make sure you pull it all the way so it doesn't get stuck on anything in the back. Okay. And then we're going to go all the way back down to the bottom. Make sure I'm going through all those holes. There we go. Through the bottom. Make sure you're pulling it tight in the middle. And go through the middle here. And just make sure you're not splitting your threads. And if you don't know what that means, you will definitely find out fast. Because once you split your threads, you won't ever want to do it again. So it's when your needle gets caught and goes like in between threads, and then you can't pull it. You'll know. Okay, so let's see. I'm just taking it and getting that tight, getting the tail out of there. Like this. making sure to get everything untangled. And check, keep checking. Okay, so there. I'm gonna pull taut, not like super tight because you don't want to rip anything or break anything. Okay, so what you can do is go ahead and unclamp it before you tie anything and just kind of look through and make sure it looks like how you want it. You got everything where it is. Everything's right side up. Don't do it upside down. I've done that. And then you just have to take it all out. But that's why you look before you tie. You know, if you get into the habit of actually checking it, you know, before tying it all off and then looking at it and going, oh, I gotta untie it and it's all in a knot and it's hard to get undone. So just double check everything. So that all looks good to me. Then you just take your threads. You have the middle one and on top of the bottom ones. The bottom ones are underneath the middle one and they go on each side. Okay, so you pull it taut. And then I like to tie it with this thread. I only tie it twice because this stuff holds nicely. It's got that wax seal on it, so it's tight. And there we go. And then later on I'll put some wood beads off these hanging and some fun little things. So that's what we did today. I think it turned out really fun. I mean, this turned out really cool. You got it all bound in there. And there we go. And then this just pops around like that. And there it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informational. And if you could please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell and you guys can see my next video when I post it. Like, comment, and share, and let's grow together. And keep on crafting.